Conscious awareness and awakening to higher states of consciousness. Human beings have long been fascinated with the nature of consciousness, the question of what it means to be aware, and the possibility of awakening to higher states of consciousness. This quest for deeper understanding has roots in ancient spiritual traditions, philosophy, psychology, and now, modern science. Conscious awareness refers to the state of being aware of one's thoughts, emotions, environment, and even the larger cosmic or spiritual dimensions of existence. The awakening to higher states of consciousness involves transcending the ordinary waking state and entering into more expansive, interconnected, and profound ways of experiencing reality. Let's explore the nature of conscious awareness, the journey of awakening to higher states of consciousness, the obstacles that keep us from these states, and the practices that can help us reach them. By understanding and cultivating higher consciousness, we open ourselves to greater wisdom, peace, and alignment with the deeper truths of existence. Understanding conscious awareness. Conscious awareness, in its simplest form, is the state of being aware of ourselves and the world around us. It includes the ability to perceive, reflect, and make choices based on those perceptions. From a biological standpoint, this awareness is tied to the brain's function, particularly the prefrontal cortex, which is involved in decision-making, self-awareness, and reasoning. However, conscious awareness goes beyond the mere processing of sensory data. It involves subjective experience, self-reflection, and the sense of being an observer of one's thoughts and actions. Philosophically, consciousness has been a topic of debate for centuries. The mind-body problem, famously articulated by René Descartes, questioned whether consciousness could be reduced to physical processes or if it existed as something separate from the body. In more recent times, neuroscientists and cognitive scientists have sought to understand the hard problem of consciousness, the question of why and how subjective experiences arise from neural activity. In spiritual traditions, consciousness is often viewed as the essence of existence itself, the field from which all things arise, and in which all things are interconnected. Many Eastern philosophies, such as Buddhism and Hinduism, teach that our ordinary waking consciousness is but a limited slice of a much broader and deeper reality. To awaken to higher states of consciousness is to perceive the underlying unity of existence, transcending the ego and the illusion of separation. The journey of awakening. The process of awakening to higher states of consciousness is often described as a journey, one that involves shedding layers of false identity and opening oneself to deeper truths. This journey can take many forms, and it is often marked by moments of insight, expanded perception, and profound shifts in one's understanding of reality. 1. Realizing the illusion of the ego. One of the first steps in the journey of awakening is realizing the illusory nature of the ego. The ego is the aspect of ourselves that identifies with our personal story, our roles, and our attachments. It creates a sense of separation from others and the world, leading to feelings of isolation, fear, and conflict. While the ego is a necessary part of human experience, allowing us to navigate the physical world, it is not the whole of who we are. In higher states of consciousness, we come to see that the ego is merely a construct, a set of beliefs and patterns that do not define our true essence. We begin to recognize that we are not the I that thinks, feels, or experiences, but the awareness that observes these thoughts, feelings, and experiences. This shift in perspective is often accompanied by a sense of inner freedom and peace, as we release our identification with the ego and open ourselves to the broader field of consciousness. 2. Expanding awareness beyond the self. As we move beyond the ego, our awareness begins to expand. We start to perceive the interconnectedness of all things and recognize that we are not separate from the world around us. In higher states of consciousness, the boundaries between the self and the other dissolve, and we experience a sense of unity with the cosmos. This realization is often described as a non-dual state, in which the polarities of subject and object, inside and outside, dissolve into a single field of awareness. This expanded awareness is often accompanied by a profound sense of compassion and empathy, as we come to see that all beings are expressions of the same underlying consciousness. Many spiritual traditions describe this experience as oneness or unity consciousness, and it is considered a hallmark of higher states of awakening. 3. Awakening to universal truths. As we deepen into higher states of consciousness, we begin to perceive truths that are not accessible in ordinary waking states. These truths are often referred to as universal or cosmic truths, as they transcend the relative truths of our personal and cultural perspectives. They reveal the fundamental principles that govern existence, such as the law of cause and effect, the interconnectedness of all life, and the impermanence of all forms. Many people who have experienced higher states of consciousness report a deep sense of clarity, as if they are seeing reality for the first time. This clarity often leads to profound insights into the nature of life, death, and the purpose of existence. It also brings a sense of alignment with the flow of life, as we recognize that we are part of a larger, intelligent unfolding. The obstacles to higher consciousness. While the potential for higher consciousness exists within all of us, there are many obstacles that prevent us from accessing these states. These obstacles are often tied to our conditioning, our attachments, and the limited perspectives of the ego. Let's take a look at some of the key obstacles that keep us from awakening to higher states of consciousness. 1. Fear and attachment. Fear is one of the greatest obstacles to higher consciousness. The ego is rooted in fear, fear of loss, fear of death, fear of the unknown, and it clings to familiar patterns and attachments to maintain a sense of security. However, these attachments often keep us stuck in limiting beliefs and behaviors, preventing us from expanding our awareness. In order to awaken to higher consciousness, we must be willing to let go of our attachments and face the unknown. This requires trust in the process of life and a willingness to surrender control. Many spiritual practices, such as meditation and mindfulness, help us cultivate this sense of trust and openness, allowing us to move beyond fear and into greater states of awareness. 2. Mental conditioning. From an early age, we are conditioned by our families, cultures, and societies to adopt certain beliefs and behaviors. This conditioning shapes the way we perceive ourselves and the world, often creating limiting beliefs that keep us from experiencing higher states of consciousness. For example, we may have been conditioned to believe that we are separate from others, that life is a struggle, or that we are not worthy of love. In order to awaken to higher consciousness, we must become aware of this conditioning and question its validity. This process of deprogramming allows us to break free from the mental patterns that keep us in a state of separation and limitation. Practices such as self-inquiry, journaling, and therapy can help us uncover and release these limiting beliefs. 3. Distractions and stimulation. In today's modern world, we are constantly bombarded with distractions and sensory stimulation. Whether through technology, media, or the demands of daily life, our attention is often pulled outward, away from the present moment. This constant external focus keeps us from tuning into the deeper levels of consciousness that are accessible through stillness and introspection. In order to awaken to higher consciousness, we must cultivate the ability to turn inward and quiet the mind. Meditation, breathwork, and other contemplative practices help us develop this inner focus, allowing us to access deeper states of awareness and insight. Practices for awakening to higher consciousness. While the journey of awakening is unique for each individual, there are certain practices that have been shown to facilitate the process of expanding consciousness. These practices help us cultivate greater awareness, clarity, and connection with the deeper dimensions of existence. 1. Meditation. Meditation is perhaps the most well-known practice for awakening to higher consciousness. By quieting the mind and focusing on the present moment, meditation allows us to transcend the ordinary waking state and access deeper levels of awareness. There are many forms of meditation, from mindfulness and breath awareness to transcendental and mantra-based practices. Regardless of the technique, the key is to develop a regular practice that allows the mind to settle and open to higher states of consciousness. 2. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of bringing full attention to the present moment, without judgment or distraction. While similar to meditation, mindfulness can be practiced throughout the day, in any activity. By cultivating mindfulness, we become more aware of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, allowing us to break free from automatic patterns and respond to life with greater clarity and presence. 3. Breathwork. Breathwork is a powerful tool for awakening to higher consciousness. By using specific breathing techniques, we can activate the parasympathetic nervous system, calm the mind, and access altered states of consciousness. Breathwork practices, such as pranayama, holotropic breathwork, and the Wim Hof method, have been used for centuries to facilitate spiritual awakening and deepen awareness. 4. Self-inquiry. Self-inquiry is the practice of questioning one's thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions in order to uncover deeper truths. By asking questions such as "Who am I?" or "What is the nature of reality?" we can penetrate beyond the surface level of experience and gain insight into the true nature of consciousness. This practice is often associated with non-dual traditions, such as Advaita Vedanta and Zen Buddhism. 5. Spiritual study and reflection. Reading spiritual texts, attending workshops, and engaging in discussions about consciousness can provide valuable insights and inspiration on the journey of awakening. By immersing ourselves in the teachings of those who have walked the path before us, we can gain new perspectives and deepen our understanding of higher states of consciousness. The awakening to higher states of consciousness is a profound and transformative journey, one that has the potential to radically shift our perception of reality and our place within it. By expanding our awareness beyond the ego, cultivating practices that promote inner stillness, and embracing the deeper truths of existence, we can experience the interconnectedness of all life and align ourselves with the greater flow of the universe. While the path of awakening may be challenging at times, it is also deeply rewarding, offering greater peace, wisdom, and fulfillment. Ultimately, the journey of awakening to higher consciousness is not just about expanding our awareness, it is about remembering who we truly are, beings of infinite potential, connected to the vastness of the cosmos, and capable of living in harmony with all of creation.